What's up, guys? This is Boski, and I'm going to be going over another card set today. This card set is the 1959 Fleer Indian trading cards. There's 80 cards in a set. This is a piece of the collection that I'm never opened. I got these back in a couple of years ago, and I inherited them from my uncle. Um, these haven't been opened since at least the late 80s. My uncle was stringent on making sure he got really nice looking sets, and quality is key with him, and it is with me too. I'm sure it is with most collectors. But we're about to open this up and see what we got. This is a fairly common older set. Um, Prices have gone up obviously since COVID, but at one time in the 90s, you can buy this set for probably less than $50. It's incredible how prices have skyrocketed on these things. This first card right here, it's the most valuable card of the set, the Sitting Bull. So let's open it up. I'm going to try not to break anything and make sure I got it in the camera's view. Sorry about the shaky camera. Let's see. Here we go, guys. Hasn't been open in at least 20 years. Maybe longer. Trying to damage these things. Anything that's set in the 50s, it seems like it's just so easily damaged. I'm going to do this and turn it over. Start from the back. Here we go. Try not to damage these cards at all. They're consistently going up in price, and I want to be able to give these to my grandkids. So this is my first set of cards that I'm showing off that's not recent. I have a whole collection. I'd say I have about 50 sets of non-sports trading cards from the 50s going all the way up to the 90s. I guess 80s, maybe. Yeah. But most of these, as you look at the cards, he took exceptional care. I don't think there's a bent end or anything. I'm not a card grader. I sent my first set in recently, and I'm just not impressed with the pricing, but I wanted to try it. So let's see. Let's get started. So this is the most valuable card in the set. Number 1, Plains Indian. Sitting Bull. Let's see what he's got to say. Oh, that's really cool. So on the back it says Indian picture writing, Power of the Chief. So that's the symbol for Power of the Chief. Sitting Bull is one of the most famous of all Indian chiefs. He was a fierce leader of the Sioux who defeated General Custer at the Battle of Little Bighorn. After he signed a peace treaty with the United States, Sitting Bull appeared in a Wild West show directed by Buffalo Bill Cody. I hear about those Wild West shows. Man, that's entertainment. So, if you know me, you know I like pro wrestling. And I like carnival shows and stuff of that nature. People doing acts, maybe suspend disbelief in something. The Wild West shows were that. They were essentially Cirque du Soleil, pro wrestling, gatherings of people to show abilities of somebody else. I wish there was a Wild West show that's still going around just to see. I think that'd be really cool. So there's Sitting Bull. Beautiful card. Hand painted. Put that to the side. So that's the first one. I might put this back in a box. If I can remember which box it was. I don't know. I'll tell you what, let's just leave this right here right now. We'll do a stack job. This one is the Indian Scout Riding Trail. Now, I think this is the second most valuable card in the set. I don't know why. Maybe the packs messed them up. I don't know. I don't even know how these came out. I'm sure they came out in packs. Fleer was all about selling your bubble gum at this point. If y'all don't know, Fleer basically were the people who started Chiclets Gum and Double Bubble. So this is trading cards were a way to sell their product until trading cards became more popular. It's easier to sell these, especially during the sugar rationing. You get one piece of gum, but you get all these cards that come with it. So it's an easy way to ration sugar. Indian boy with a dog, Trevios. See if I can see that. All right, there we go. Nice card. Till the white man came to America, the Indians have never seen a wheel. When the Plains Indians decided to break camp and move on to another hunting ground, they would tie their belongings to 2 tent poles and drag them along behind one of their dogs. This device was called a travois, pronounced travois. It's travel. Indian picture writing. January. So that's what January looks like. I'm assuming this is just one for the plain Indians. Cool little card. There we go. Now I will be speeding up this. I'm not going to go through every card. You notice the second card I didn't read. Buffalo Dancer. That's crazy. The buffalo is the most important single type of game in the Plains Indians. It provides them with food, clothing, and shelter. Before starting out on the hunt, those Indians perform a buffalo dance to please the gods and make the hunt a success. Power above. Indian picture writing. What kind of message are you sending with that? Indian woman and a stove. So let me move this down a little bit. It's shaking again. Sorry, but my camera is hooked onto the same shelf that my desk is, and it sits up really high. So anytime I put any weight on it, it kind of moves. Indian woman and stove. I don't know what kind of stove that is. It looks like a in-the-ground hole, which I can imagine that would be the most common type stoves in this point in time. Yeah, the Indian mother would dig a hole in the ground and build a fire in it. These Indians like buffalo tongue the best. They also ate antelope and rabbit. Buffalo tongue. I don't know if any of y'all ever ate any animal's tongue. I don't know. It's okay. It is what it is. I grew up in Nashville, so my ancestors used to love to eat squirrels and possums and just about anything that moves. There's an Indian Plains teepees. So, for you who do and don't know Indian history or don't care, there's only certain Indians that actually use teepees. The Cherokee tribe, they didn't actually use teepees at all. They were stationary, so they built huts and stuff on the sides of mountains, lived in caves, but they were stationary. The Plains Indians, obviously, they travel a lot. You had to go with the herds of buffalo and everything like that, because if you didn't, you won't get no food. So they travel a lot. I don't know if y'all ever been to Kansas or any of that area, but I don't know how they found any food out there. When I drive through there, I look and you can see for miles. I don't see so much as a rabbit out there. So imagine them just traveling, hoping. Indian launching a bull boat. A Bull boat. Bowl boat is more like it. Float through the prairies. Plains Indians used the bull boat to cross the water rivers. These boats were made by stretching buffalo hides over a framework of wood. After the river crossed, the boat was taken apart and the wood frame was saved. To cross another river, they had to shoot another buffalo. I guess you couldn't use the same buffalo skin twice. It's a process just to get across a river. So you got to go out there. You got to shoot a buffalo. Then you got to dry it, cure it, and stretch it, I guess. And then you can build a boat, so you're stuck out there for maybe 2 days before you can get back home. Oh, sorry. Let's see. Indian mother preparing pemmican. Pemmican. Huh. I don't know what pemmican is. Ooh. Indian picture writing. June. Strawberry moon. That sounds like so much better name than June. Why couldn't we go with strawberry moon? Alright. It's pretty cool. I don't know what that food is. Okay, so man. Pemmican was made of strips of lean venison that had been dried. It was pounded into a paste with some fat. Berries were then added, and the mixture made into little cakes. I bet you that's really disgusting. Well, this was a good one. Indian musician with a turtle rattle. I mean, gotta make your music somehow. Use a turtle shell. I like the Indian pictures. Those are fascinating. I'd like to do a YouTube video of just writing out Indian writings based off these cards. This one's a cool one. Rabbit skin leggings. Imagine if you give your wife or girlfriend a pair of leggings made out of rabbit skin. Oh, this is interesting. All right. In 1831, a delegation of Flathead and Nez Perce Indians traveled from Idaho to St. Louis, Missouri. In a sign language, they asked General Clark of Lewis and Clark to send missionaries to their people. Only one Indian named Rabbit Skin Leggins survived the return trip. The others died of sickness. Indian picture writing mourn. So the problem was in those days is we brought over so many sicknesses and illnesses and viruses from English colonies and other parts of the world too. There was no way for the American Indians to fight it off. Hence, when the English settlers made it over to America, a lot of people died off of sickness too, because your body's not accustomed to eating buffalo every day, and eventually it'll make you sick and you'll die. So Indians speaking sign languages. I wonder. Now, real sign language wasn't introduced, I'm not sure, maybe the 1800s. So this is a completely different form of sign language than we know today. I'm not pretty sure about that. So the Plains Indians spoke over 30 languages. Since Indians could not write, a sign language developed so men of different tribes could talk to each other. The man in this picture is making a sign for yes. Just a little finger like that. All right. Cool card. The Dancing Sioux. Pretty cool. I'm not going to go over that. We know what he's doing. That guy was acting out the story of a hunt. And dance moves. Pretty cool. Saka, I'm gonna butcher this. Sakaway? Sakaway? More monuments have been erected to Sakaway than any other American woman. At the age of 18, she led the Lewis and Clark expedition from what is now Bismarck, North Dakota, from the Pacific to the Pacific Ocean. Because she had spent her early years in Montana, she was able to direct the expedition through the confusing and treacherous wilderness. She died of a fever at the age of 25. Now imagine growing up in Montana in the time frame that she did. Driving through Montana from October until, I don't know, probably April. It's kind of scary. The snow, everything, and just imagine growing up there with just nothing. You're just wandering off into the wilderness and the big skies. It's intimidating. Camped out there one time and just the sky freaks you out. It's just so massive. Chief Washakie. Chief Washakie. This is from the Plain Indians. Typical standardized headdress. I don't know much about him. Ooh. Indian picture writing, wounded 6 times. Now, if he was wounded 7 times, will it be different? We'll just have another TP. This famous leader of the Shoshones was recognized as our chief for 60 years. The Indian Wars of 1870s, he enlisted as a scout and saved General Crook's troops from annihilation. He held a commission in the U.S. Army at the time of his death. I don't even know what he means by a commission. Was it just a gathering of people? These cards are standard. I think it's 2.5 by 3.5. So no altercations. It's just a standardized base card set. A medicine man. That's what you look like when you're sick. So these are, it's good indications. That's something I want to look at through here too. If I can look at the picture and see what it actually represents and see if I would think the same thing if I see it, and that looks like a person is sick. It's crazy. He put a great faith in charm and rituals. Actually, he knew many herbs and roots that had curative powers. For the rest, he depended on sleight of hand and trickery. The sleight of hand and trickery. Hunting a buffalo. It's like guys wearing a wolf carcass skin. That's crazy. November is hunting moon. Wolves. So, I'm not a hunter. I know there's certain animals that you can only hunt in certain seasons. For different reasons, health benefits, or you can get some kind of disease if you eat animals off season. And I wonder if the American Indians adhere to that, or was their body used to that? I don't know. Could they go eating a squirrel any time of year, or did they know those seasons? I don't know. I'm not a hunter. I'm just mentally speculating. July, Thunder Moon. Chief Joseph was the most famous of all the Nez Perce Indians. not the great. He's not. He is known not for a great victory, but for a great retreat. He was pursued over 1,000 miles in Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana by two American armies. When finally cornered, he had earned the respect and admiration of all the American people for his cunning and determination. Huh. What happened to him after that, though? I'm sure he got put on a reservation, and that was that. Oh, let me see if I can get this name correct. Assiniboine? Assiniboine. Assiniboine warrior. Oh, so I wouldn't even know what that was. I guess I'm two arrows pointing at each other means war. Oh, this is pretty cool. All right. At one time, these warriors were the military powers of the Great Plains. They were well supplied with guns and horses and they ranged from Canada to Montana to Dakotas. In 1840, a smallpox epidemic swept from power, and they were replaced by the Cree. In 1840, huh. A buffalo horn headdress. Okay, I get this one. See, all right. Nice card. Now I do want to advise y'all, anytime y'all break one of these sets open, like I did, wash your hands before. There's natural oils on your fingers. Just wash it really good. You're fine. You don't need to wear gloves or anything like that. This one, I don't know if there's a mess up on the card. Let's see, it's a dirty spot over here. I don't want to mess it up, but that might be. I don't feel it rough. So possibly, let's look at this card and see. Maybe that's just a printing error. I thought I felt something, but no. Yeah, I don't know about this card, guys. Um, I don't know if all of them are like that. Here's a wampum belt, though. Everybody needs a wampum belt. Pretty cool. Imagine having one of those hanging from your. Another quest made. Little question on that card right there. I don't know how that'll affect a grade. Of course, I'm never going to get this graded. Imagine grading a whole set like this. Good God, that would be way too damn much. Seminole Chicky. Seminole Chicky. Sorry about the smoke. I do vape. Indian girl doing the dishes. You better be doing those dishes. You ain't got nothing else to do. You know what was wild about, and I'm not saying all Indians were like this, but the men went out and hunted, run roughshod and everything. When they got back, the woman's the one who made supper, cut the meat off the bones, stretched the leather. They done all that. The men just got to town and partied, and then they left and raided again. That was, and that's not all Indians, obviously, but some of the ones I read about, it's like the women done most of the stuff that guys would do today. Indian making a fire. Better be making a fire. If you ain't got no clothes on, you look like you're cold. Indian pitcher fire right here. So, Seneca carving mask from living tree. This is done in many cultures. February New Year moon. All right. Birch bark canoe. These are woodland Indians. So, canoe on lake. Okay, I see that. Little guy on a canoe. This set includes several different tribes. Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, it consists of the Woodland Indians, the Alaskan Indians, the Southwest, the Northwest, and the Plains Indians. Of course, you can't get every Indian tribe in a set. They're almost infinite. Indians playing lacrosse. So this is interesting. I saw this card on eBay, and it kind of made me interested in the set again. Just I didn't know Indians played lacrosse. So the Indians invented a game we all call lacrosse. It is still a very rough game, but when Indians played it, it was even rougher. Many times it resembled a battle more than a sport. Any number could play, and in some instances the playing field was almost a mile long. The women stood along the sidelines and cheered just like at our football games. So, lacrosse. I didn't know it was invented by Indians. That's cool. Indians in winter dress. So they're inventors of the snowshoes too. Later on, they developed a shape which we still use today. As you can see, Indians bundle up during the winter in heavy fur stitched together with deerskin thongs. Yeah, you better be bundling up. Great Bear, Northwind. I don't get that. Great Bear? I guess it's just Great Bear. Indian woman preparing the deer skins. So I was saying earlier, the women done all the butchering and preparing the stuff. The men just hunted and played games. She would decorate the clothes with beads and colored porcupine quins. Indian picture, evening sunset. Yeah, I get that. Indian longhouse. Alright. So the Woodland Indians sounds like they are a stationary set of Indian tribe. Look at the card off. It's I don't know if it was all of them were like that, but there's a big discrepancy on the ends. And as I was saying, they put up a wooden frame and they covered it with brick bark. More than one family would live in the same house. In the winter, a skin was hung over the door to keep out the cold. This is for the Iroquois tribe. Iroquois? All right, young brave coming back from a hunting trip. Indian bows were too accurate. Indian bows and arrows were not too accurate. In order for the young brave to get a shot at a rabbit, he had to steal quietly through the brush until he can get up close. All Indian boys wanted to become a mighty hunters because hunters were greatly honored by the tribe. And also, they didn't have to do shoot when they got back to the tribe. The women done everything else for them. Indian mother with a papoose board. Papoose board. April maple sugar moon. A Seminole dugout canoe. Seminole. Indian picture riding canoe on the river. Remember earlier we'd done a lake and it was like that, but it was just had the enclosed. So this guy didn't even have a paddle. He used a stick because it was so shallow he can just push it with a stick. Rockies Warriors. So the Rockies felt like that car was sticking together, but no, it's there. Rockies don't have the famous headband and stuff. They do have the feathers. Of course, it's all speculatory. I'm not sure about the Woodland Indians or the Plains or any of them. It's just history I got up through movies and books over the years of what I know. So he had a special tomahawk that was made in England. This tomahawk, let's see a little messed up part. You see that? Just a little bit. Let's see if on the other side of the card if it represents. Nope. A little dirt mark on there. Now, I'm not grading my cards, but I want the best shape I can get. So that ain't too bad. Hunting an alligator. Pretty cool. Indians were able to stand upright in their dugout canoes. This took considerable skill. This canoe tipped easily. Yeah, have you ever stood up in a canoe? It ain't easy, especially trying to hunt from it. We've tipped many canoes in our day, but it was mostly because there was alcohol involved. I'm going to butcher a name. Oskalioa. Oh, that's interesting. Oskalooa was the most famous of all the Seminoles chiefs. He never surrendered to the United States. He was finally captured through treachery. Died in prison. That's actually interesting. I wouldn't mind knowing what treacherous deeds that we've done. Let's get them. I like that. Look at the feather. I don't even know what that is. All right, Seminole man in costume. What is he in costume for? So this was, I don't know, I don't want to speculate. Making a dugout canoe during with heat. I guess you would have to do that. That's why they're hitching into the wood with wood. No, I would never have any idea that it was a tree. Maybe a plant on water. Uh-oh, my favorite part. Indian smoking card pipes. Look at that thing. You know, I've never seen a Indian card pipe out in the wild. I know they're out there in antique shows and stuff. It's just something I never did. See that cut on there? I'm wondering if all these cards, at least Horizontal ones have a odd birth order. Ugh, that's scary. See how small it is? See how big that is? I don't know what PSA we get that. I haven't looked up this card or any of these cards. I just noticed them just now. So, like I said, this is the first time I've ever opened up this set before myself. So it's new for me. Chief Halfton. I am a direct descendant of the Chief Halftown, who signed the peace treaty with the United States in 1794. This is the oldest active peace treaty with the Indians, and I still receive a yearly grant of cloth and money from the government. Grant of cloth and money for now. Huh. Wonder if you still. Yeah, I guess not. Smoke signals. We all know what they are. Spearfishing for salmon. That is a art. These are Northwest Indians. I don't know what areas that would be. Virginia? No, Northwest, sorry. Oh gosh, I guess. I don't know, Montana, Washington? Carving a totem pole. So these are the Northwest Indians. I know several tribes done totem poles. I just don't. Totem poles were carved by Northwest Indians to honor their chiefs. And completely, their totem pole stood in front of that chief's house. And I can't remember. On Route 66, it might be in New Mexico, there is a totem pole museum. The world's biggest totem poles, and it's a really cool thing. Now, they're not authentic totem poles. I think it was made back in the 70s and stuff for tourists. But if you go there now, if it's still open, you need to pull in there. It's a cool place. So this one has a little denture in the end. You see it pops out? Like it wasn't cut properly. I don't know if you see it. Might be just a little bit of a bend. I'm trying to fix it without messing it up. As you can tell, most of his cards are in pretty good shape. But there's some off. See that? Now it looks like it's a good card. Look at that guy. He looks like a fisherman. Oh, there's the Indian picture for rain. So that is spot on. I get that. This is an Indian dancer, which is just standing there doing nothing. Times. Oh, the Great Panther. Okay, I can see that. The Raven is the chief of the gods. That's what it said, sorry. That's what the dancer is, holding a raven head mask for the chief of the gods. Girl with a raven head spoon. My God, I hope that's not a real raven head. That would be weird. Let's see. Made many of their household utensils from the bones of mountain goats and sheep. The bones were boiled until soft enough to bend and cut into shape. While it was still soft, it was scraped thin, then was cut into a final form. That weapon, I don't even know what that is. It's a club. So as a warrior looked fierce, they were better known for their wood carving, which I can tell from the old stuff, they were first people to do totem poles. I know that coffee's cold, guys, but it is what it is. Seagoing canoes. Yeah, we all look at the detail they put on those canoes. And I'm wondering where they got these pictures from. Now, I know they're drawn, but do they take it from real life things they've seen in museums? I don't know. Canoe with 7 warriors. All right. Very cool. Northwest Indians splitting logs. Look at the way they done that. I grew up when we always done our own firewood, so this is how they split it. That's a good idea. You just put little pegs through it and just hammer it in until it eventually splits. Huh. Huh. Moon month. Geronimo. This is the most famous Indian that I know. Stories I wrote, he was for his people. It says right here, he finally was captured in 1886 and leaves peacefully after that. Now, Geronimo was captured several times. If I'm not mistaken, he lived in a reservation, and eventually got to the point where, like, I'm tired of this because I don't want to just be stuck here and do nothing. The Americans were supplying mostly everything, and they were just living on a reservation with nothing to do. When your whole livelihood is pillaging, and it pretty much stopped their way of living. Cold. So Geronimo couldn't take it, and he set out, I think, a couple of times. He left the reservation, and I think a couple of times he went all the way to Mexico, which is wild because I think his reservation was way up north. So he would ride all the way down to there. Now, if any of this I'm saying is historically inaccurate, please understand this is just what I remember of stuff that I read, and I probably misquoted every single thing. So don't be offended if I misquote, or it's just the stuff that I always thought but never spoke of. The Apache Indians, they were pretty feared. From what I read, they stole horses. They stole anything. They rode across the land and taking horses, and then riding them until they die. So they would need to steal more horses. The way to get away from Americans, as Americans kept the same horses, when they needed a rest, you had to rest. Indians, they rode them until they basically died. So the constant need to steal more horses and acquire them and break them was a struggle. Mudhead doll. You know, I know a few Mudhead dolls out there. This doll represents a Kachina, or spirit who lived near the village. These Kanichas may be rain, clouds, or spring spirits. Over 500 of them were mentioned in the stories of Pueblo Indians tale. Their fathers made these dolls for their little girls. Did I make them out of wood? Probably leather stuff with feathers or something. Navajo Sand Painter. Navajos. And let me know if anybody's actually watching these YouTube videos, if you prefer me to hold the cards or just lay them down and let you look at it. The more I think about it, you probably just want it left alone. So my fingers all over it. Hoppy snake dentures. The problem is like pulling them off. I had to slide them forward. It's not a problem. It's just only a problem if it is to you. The denture hills. Wow, this is all right. This is Hoppy snake denture. Look, he's eating a snake. These Indians believed that snakes help bring rain and good crops. When the fields were parched and dry, the priests would plan a snake dance to be held in the plaza of the village. The dancers held live rattled snakes in their mouths as they danced. If it rained soon after, the Hoppies were sure it was because of the snakes. Indian writing. Spirits? Okay. All right. We're more than halfway through, so that's good. So I've done a little history on some of these cards. Not the cards itself, but just a card set. Very little information on the card set. Who went after all this information and stuff? It's just there's just none out there, or none that I can find. So if anybody's got any information on these card sets other than what I have, I would love to hear. Like, why were they made? Who in tops thought the set was a good idea? What Indian tribes do they speak to about this stuff, and where do the pictures come from? That's what interests me pretty good. The pictures, they had to have something to base this off of. All this stuff. It's Navajo warrior wounded by an arrow. Alright, nowadays we think that the Navajos is a peaceful sheep herders who spend their spare time making blankets and silver jewelry. Before 1849, however, they were fierce marauders who waged continuous war on other tribes. The Spanish and Americans, Kit Carson, rounded up the Navajos, and they have kept the peace ever since. That old Kit Carson, I remember those old Kit Carson movies and such. But that's about all I know about Kit Carson. Pueblo Village. So that's pretty cool. So I was at a Pueblo Village. I'm trying to think where it was. It seemed like it was in Colorado. I wonder if this is taken from that. It's awesome. Unfortunately, it's hard to get good pictures in here because they have tourist trapped it, so they put guardrails up everywhere, and there's not a lot of good places to take a picture that is unobstructed from view of guardrails and tourist things and signs. And when I went to this place, it was really cool. I didn't even know. I just passed it and I was like, I gotta stop here. But the pictures wasn't that good because people are everywhere. I would love to go through there without guardrails and see what it actually looks like without all the tourist junk in its way. If you're ever going through Colorado, I think it's right outside of Colorado Springs. I'm not sure. I was driving crazy through there, just exploring. Like I said, I'm from Nashville, so anytime I can go out west, I drive and explore. Indian reservations are always a good towns to go through. If just the art, the murals, the history, and Oklahoma is such a cool state for reservations. Butterfly dancer. All right. Stars. Okay. All right. I would think of that as a crossroads, but I can see stars. 3 crossroads, maybe. This is a hoop dancer. All right. The hoop dance is one of the most difficult for all Indian dancers. The performers pass the hoops over his head and work them around the length of his body. At this time, he kept up with his steady pattern of rhythmic steps. So, pretty cool. Hula hoop actually wasn't invented by. Who invented hula hoop? Was it the same people who made frisbee? I think. But yeah, they predated them. Cochise. The coolest name of the 70s. I didn't know it was based after an Indian, though. So, there we go. Cochise was one of the greatest of the Apache leaders. He tried to establish a peaceful relationship between the people and the white settlers. He is remembered for his close friendship with the American officer Captain Thomas Jeffords. Cochise called this man Sicky's brother. So, it's crazy. The way of life of Indians, nobody owned the land. You followed herds, you followed, especially in the Plains Indians, the Southwest, you followed the food. And so when white settlers came in and said, hey, I own a piece of this, imagine how insulting that is. Like, my family's been hunting here for 100,000 years. We don't even know what ownership is. We share everything. And some little family says, hey, you can't come on my land to hunt. Well, what would you do? You would revolt too. Digging irrigation ditches. All right. These Indians grew corn, beans, melons, tomatoes, peppers, and sunflowers. You know what's amazing about all that stuff that they grow? The only thing that represents stuff what we see now would be sunflowers. Corn are completely different. Sometimes corn back then only had 3 or 4 kernels on an ear. Beans were completely different. Melons, we wouldn't even know what that was when it was being grown. Tomatoes, they were more. They wasn't red. Let's just say that there was a lot of black tomatoes and such, and they wasn't as big as ours. It was smaller. Peppers have been hybrid so much that I don't even think these peppers were. We don't even have these peppers anymore, I'm sure. Sunflowers are the only things that actually stay the same out of all those things. You can't really change a sunflower too much. I guess you could. Just nobody's ever attempted it. If I was told right, I think sunflowers can only be grown in North America. Navajo rug weaver. So, okay. She looks so happy. I guarantee she's not happy. Look how hot. This is probably in, I don't know where it could be. Notice it might not be that hot. She's wearing sweatshirts, essentially. But it looks like a desert back there, so I don't know. The Apache Horseman. Apache Horseman was one of the most warlike and awesome of all the Indians. These fighters were among the last to make peace with the United States. Their raids continued until 1887. Oh, shoot gun. Feared and reviled throughout the United States. They had no master. They fought Indians and everything alike. In order for them to reach their potential in the afterlife, it was to see how many people they can raid and rob, and that was their warrior instinct. So when you take that away from them and put them on reservations, you took their whole, I don't know, spiritual being, their whole lifestyle. They didn't know anything else. That was their way. Navajo Hogan. So the Navajo, look at that, the wood beams. So, Indian picture writing, noon. Earth covered house called the Hogan. Even today, many Navajos live in Hogans. So, in 1959, the Fleer Company, they put out 3 sets of cards. The first one being, let's see, a Ted Williams set. I think he was a baseball player. Now it upset a lot of collectors, even, and that's this time because Ted Williams was a very popular baseball player, and then Fleer saw exclusive rights and made a whole set of his cards, which pretty much you can't find that card or the Topps cards anywhere. Topps wasn't allowed to Ted Williams' likeness since Fleer owned it, which disgruntled a lot of people. But Topps had a kind of like a hold on all the baseball players at this time, so Fleer getting one and getting a whole set made out of them is pretty cool. The second set was this set in 1959. Completely different non-sport other than baseball. And the third set was a highly sought after Three Stooges set. One of the most popular non-sport card sets of all time. I do have that set. We'll be going through it one day. Just not today. I'm going through one set at a time and seeing where we go. Indian dress for the Taluchi ceremony. Taluchi. This ceremony initiated young California Indians into manhood. How do you say that? Toloechi. Tolechi. Did you drink Tolechi, a drink made from Jimson weed? Afterwards they slept. Jimson weed. Is that what they make abstinence out of? They were sleeping and said they dreamt of an animal which became their friend throughout the rest of their lives. The man in this picture is a sponsor for one of the youths and will look after him during his ceremony. California woman with burden basket. It is a burden, but I guess they keep your back straight. She's going to gather acorns. Sunrise in the morning. Okay, I can see that. Launching a balsa raft. It's a different kind of raft. It looks like it's made out of straw. Waterfalls, okay. Making acorn bread, I guess some mash. Acorn bread. I don't know what that tastes like. California Indian woman gathering berries. I wish I can go out to a field and be able to pick some berries and know that I can eat them. Everyone returns for a basket full of berries, but they're not. Is these baskets? How are you going to fill up a berry full? My goodness, I can see that one possibly, but there's a lot of baskets, or that's a lot of berries in there. Wow. Has anybody ever went picking berries? We used to do it as a kid all the time, but we knew what they were. It's usually blackberries. All right, so here's Alaskan. This is really cool. I didn't know these were in here. Eskimos on a seal hunt. Looks like they're in the ice. That's really cool. Indian picture writing sadness. Huh. A heart. The heart shape. That's interesting. They used that. And he would sit down. Eskimos eat all those seal. So if y'all don't know it as a dietitian, I'm not a dietitian, but that is crucial. So, and seals are mostly fat. Oh, look at this guy. That's a comedy mask. What are they making comedy for? They're out there freezing their butts off. Sometimes two villages at the same time have a comedy contest. At that time, several of the men wear comic masks. They dance and spin around to see which one of them can make people laugh loudest. That's really cool, actually. Huh. So, comedy, stand-up comedy acts goes, in America, goes way back. Eskimo in a kayak. Now it looks like a superhero. I forgot what his name was. Like he lives underground with the Mole Man. I think his name's Mole Man. He looks like a mole man with the little eyeglasses type deal. Ah. The Eskimos made the kayak. This is right up my alley. If you don't know me, then you don't know, but I'm a big wrestling fan. So, is this the first wrestling card? I'm a big wrestling card collector too. The Eskimos settled their differences by wrestling instead of by wars. When the two villages had a dispute, each would send the strongest man out to wrestle. As soon as one man was thrown into the ground, the match was over and the winning village had his way. That's cool. Okay, I see that. Huh. You see there? You don't need guns and knives to finish an argument. You can just fight it out. Eskimo women mending boots. Man's trail. It's the Eskimo's woman's job to keep all the clothes clean every minute. Licky boot could mean frostbite and lost toes to the hunter, while she works and keeps a careful eye on the blubber lamp so it won't smoke up the igloo. Huh. The blubber lamp. Where is that? Huh. We're getting down there, folks. I guess we got about 10 cards left, somewhere around there. 5. I don't know. Eskimos with wounded polar bears. Oh. When an Eskimo captured a polar bear, it meant a real feast. They would eat all the meat except the liver, which is poisonous. I didn't know that. Huh. Because when I read books and stuff, I can't remember what tribe it was, but the liver was like the prized possession of deer. They would eat it raw. Huh. Sometimes an Eskimo hunter had to choose a wounded bear for days. Chase a wounded bear for days to get close enough to kill it. I can imagine. Bear tracks in the picture. Okay. Up. Here's Mole Man. So those are snow goggles. I wonder if Mole Man knew that he was wearing snow goggles. To protect their eyes from the glare of the snow, Eskimo invented the snow goggles. These were made from narrow strips of wood or bone. The small slits allow the Eskimo to see out but keep too much glare from reflecting in, which is great. I have major stigmatisms when it comes to snow. I walk out on a bright, snowy day and my eyes water to the point where it hurts. Eskimo woman fishing. Fish is used as a substitute for fresh meat. Well, I consider it meat. Eskimo returning to his igloo. Well, that's fascinating. Come on back. Winter deep snow. Huh, I would never guess that. I would just, Eskimo will build an igloo even if it's to serve as a shelter for only one night. While the man cuts and fits the ice blocks, his wife fills up the cracks with snow and smooths the inside walls. Just for one night. Holy shit. Alright, 2 cards left. Eskimo repairing arrows. It's crucial. Indian picture writing meat. That's cool. Huh. And the final card in the set, guys. Eskimo dog sled. It's the last one. Wonder what all he's got in there. The dog sled was invented by the Eskimo. It took considerable skill to handle a team of half-wild dogs. These dogs were fierce and would only obey one man. The Eskimo had to quiet his dogs before a stranger could approach the igloo. It's the last card, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed me going over the 1959 Fleer Indian cards. 80 cards released in a set. Very cool. All those people have never seen the set or maybe couldn't afford it or whatever. This is a visual representation of what it's about. Now I'm going to try to attempt to put these back in this case, which I do not like doing. The man I inherited these cards from, he liked to make cases and change the tops out to completely fit the cards perfectly, which in certain cases are awesome. Problem is putting them back into the canisters without messing them up is not easy. So let you see how I do this. This is the scariest part. This is the reason why I don't take my cards out. Alright, come on, baby. Let's see, come on. Just a little bit there. Do like this, just a little bit. Get a good snap. There we go. Oh, that's alright. I don't care which way they're turned. I'm not taking them back out. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll cover up another set next week. I got about 50 non-sport trading card sets, all from the 50s all the way up to the 70s, maybe early 80s. A lot of these are extremely rare, and some of them you'll never see again, or never want to see again. Like, I'm gonna be more vigilant on what I pull out. But yeah, guys, I'll be doing this once a week. Hit me up if you got any questions. Thanks again.